Hey everyone, so good to have you here. Thank you for joining. Today we're going to start standing, so meet me on the mat. You don't particularly need any props, but if you'd like to have a blanket or maybe a couple of bricks, then go ahead and bring those in, all right? So we're just going to stand in Tadasana. The feet could be a bit wider if you'd like to at the beginning. And then just take a moment to feel your body, feel your feet on the ground, and just allow yourself to settle here and arrive, stilling the waters of the busy mind. Beautiful. And then bring your palms upturned, and this is a gesture of receptivity, Hasta Mudra. So, what is it that you're hoping to receive today from this practice? If this practice could deliver a gift to you, what would that be? Beautiful. And then open your eyes. And as you inhale, slowly sweep the arms up. Bring the palms together as you exhale. Draw the hands down in front of you. Let's do this again. See if you can deepen your breath. And allow the movements to open you up to the moment. Sometimes when the mind is busy, this is a lovely way to begin. So we are keeping the movement slow in rhythm with the breath. And inviting the body and the mind to come into present moment. Last one. Enjoy your practice today. And as always, look after yourself. So make any adaptations or adjustments however you need to. So we're going to come to the top of the mat. And we'll start with some really nice slow sun salutations to warm up. So inhale the arms up. As you breathe out, you're going to fold all the way down. And then you might like to nod your head, release any tension in the neck. Beautiful. And then come back to all fours so you can place something under your knees if you need a bit more padding. Let's do cat-cow on the inhale. Tilt your tail up, arch the back. And as you exhale, round, tucking the tail. Keep going. Bring your awareness into the pelvis. And particularly notice the back of the pelvis and start the movement from your tailbone, not from the head and neck. So many of us lead with the head most of the day, actually. And let's bring our awareness right down. And get this wave-like motion through the spine. Spread your fingers wide, root down through the knuckle joints. Last one here, big breath in. And then exhale round the back again. Okay, now tuck your toes and push your hands firmly into the floor and hover your knees above the mat, above the floor. Yeah, and then what you might want to do is just wiggle your feet back a little bit further. So we're coming into downward facing dog. Draw the belly organs up. Go ahead and lift your hips. And then just adjust the position of the feet. So we're keeping the hands glued in place, but you're adjusting the position of the feet to suit you. The arms are enthusiastically pressing, and it's not a problem if your heels are lifted high off the mat. Lengthen through the neck and see if you can feel those lovely deep breaths, the same as you did when we were starting. Maybe you can reach even more through the arms. Draw some more length from the fingers all the way up to the pelvis. Okay, and then bring your shoulders forward. So you want to keep your abs engaged, keep your tummy muscles nice and strong there. As you come into a nice high plank pose, lengthen through the crown of the head, and then go back into your down dog. And we're going to rock forward and back a couple of times. So if this doesn't suit you, you can put your knees on the floor and return to cat-cow. On the inhale, scooch the shoulders forward. Try not to drop the hips low. And on the exhale, back into your down dog. So just bringing a little bit of warming through the shoulders, through the core, and also the action of rolling over the toes. Always quite good to wake the feet up in this way. I know it's sometimes tricky for people to get that toe flexion. So again, be kind to yourself and adjust if you need to. Okay, on the next plank pose, you're going to put your knees down on the floor, and then we'll practice like a nice slow lower to the floor with sort of a modified chaturanga. So draw your belly organs in and up. You probably can't see because of my t-shirt, but I'm engaging my abs. And then you're going to bend your elbows. Now the elbows can go out to the sides, or they can move straight back and stay close into the body. Okay, so you're going to slowly bring your chest down. Okay, lie on the floor, put your forehead on the floor, or you can make a pillow with your hands, which I'm going to do because I've got the microphone right here, so it makes it a little bit easier for me. Okay, and then slowly lift both legs off the floor. Your legs are pretty straight. There'll be a little bend in the knees, that's normal. And then lower them down. And we're going to do this, say, another 4 times. Inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. Last one here. Okay, bring your hands alongside your hips and your forehead towards the floor or on the floor. As you inhale now, lift your arms, chest, legs. Everything is lifting, including the head, but let's not lift the chin too high. So you want to keep lengthening through the head, and then exhale, float everything down towards the floor. Inhale, lifting, and exhale, lowering. Now there is an option to add in sweeping the arms forward on the inhale, and on the exhale, swim the arms back to the first position. So it just makes it a little bit more of a dynamic warm-up for the shoulders. No rushing. Okay, so just take your time with it. Okay, last one. Position your hands alongside your chest. And then keep your feet wide enough so we're coming up into the cobra pose. You're going to push into the hands, and you can stay nice and low, or you can lift your chest a little bit higher. And for cobra, you want to somewhat relax the pelvis. So sometimes we are instructed to really tuck the tailbone in cobra pose, and I'm not a fan because the lower back and the pelvis work together. So if you're asking the pelvis to do one thing and then bringing the lower back into extension, often we feel a little uncomfortable at the lower back. So you're going to choose the height, and what can sometimes help is to take the legs wider and also to slightly turn the toes in and the heels out. So have a play with cobra, find the height, the kind of amplitude, if you like, that suits you. Make sure that your shoulder blades are down, not hanging up like this, okay? So feel that lovely stretch through your belly. Okay, and then when you come down, fantastic. You're going to come back to kneeling, and then one more time into downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out, walk forward. Or you can hop if you're feeling a little more spicy. Okay. And then as you inhale, sweep your arms all the way up, come to stand. Exhale, bring the hands down. Okay, just roll out any tension in the shoulders. You can also turn your head, look one way, look another. So just easing out any tension in the neck and in the shoulders. Now we're going to keep going with some sun salutations. We'll just do a couple, and then we're going to add in more. So my intention for today is to move through the whole body with various different postures and shapes. Okay? As you inhale, sweep arms up, and exhale, bow forward. Beautiful. Step the right foot back. Let's come into a high lunge. If you need to lower the knee, that's not a problem. Raise the arms. Exhale, hands down, plank poses. Good. Inhaling. Exhale down to the floor. So you might be practicing your little dips, or you can put the knees down first. Inhale, cobra, or indeed you can come into your upward facing dog where the pelvis is up. So pelvis up or pelvis down, I'll leave that to you. And then lift your belly, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Inhale slowly, right leg in the sky. Exhale, right foot forward. Do what you can to come into a high lunge. So you might need to take a couple of steps to arrange the feet. Breathe in, raise the arms. Exhale, hands down, step forward. Stay in your forward bend. If you can do this, interlock your fingers behind your back and stretch the arms away from your back. If that's too much, you can keep the hands down. Release the hands, swing the arms forward, come up slowly. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, hands down through the midline. So same sequence, second side. Inhaling, reach up. Exhale, bow. Left foot back, high lunge. Take your time, inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands down, plank pose again. You might be practicing with chaturanga to upward facing dog or cobra pose. I'll leave that entirely to you. Press the hands firmly, lift your hips, downward facing dog. So especially through that vinyasa, you might notice that my hands stay glued in place. And if there are any adjustments to be made with the length of the pose, I'm doing that with the feet. Left leg in the sky, three-leg dog. Exhale, left foot forward, high lunge. And again, can be a little tricky sometimes to swing the foot all the way forward. So you've got to make it work for you. Breathe in. Exhale, hands down, step forward. Arms behind the back. Interlock the fingers with the unusual crossing of the hands. Okay, so it's going to feel different to the other side, hopefully. Release the hands, sweep the arms forward. Big breath in as you raise. And exhale, hands down. Good. Inhale the arms up. And then exhale, bend your knees and come into a chair pose. So you want to sink your hips back as far as they'll go. Okay, now we're going to do something to kind of bring the energy a little bit up. So you can either stay here or bring the hands like this And perhaps just hold chair if that's better for you. Otherwise, we'll swing the arms back as we fold forward, and you're going to keep that bend in the knees. So you'll exhale like this, and then inhale back into a chair. We'll do this a few times. Imagine you were just kind of shaking off, freeing yourself of any tension. And again, if this feels a little jarring for you today, just stay in a pose. And do this exhale through the mouth or through the nose. I prefer the nose. Okay, slowly stand. Your arms beside you or your hands on your chest and belly. Just notice how you feel. Inhale, raise the arms. Big breath. Exhale, bow forward. Hold the breath out. Step back to a plank pose. Okay, now lower your knees to the floor and have your knees behind your hips. So let's have a go with forearm plank. Forearm plank can be more difficult than straight arm plank. So you can always go back to regular plank, or you can lie down on the floor. And this is another option, locust pose. Yeah. So those of you that are with me, I'm going to do forearm plank. So you want your elbows not too narrow, not too wide, hands on the floor, or hands together interlocking fingers. If that helps you, you're going to press down the outside edge of the hands. If you're doing that, we are pressing the arms down and lifting the rib cage up. Engage the abdominal muscles, and then go ahead, if you can, straighten your knees, straighten your legs. So it's totally fine to do this with the legs down, sorry, with the knees down, okay? So you're going to choose which way supports you today. Now, I want you to notice the crown of the head is pressing forward. In a moment, I'm going to stop talking because it gets a little breathy when I'm trying to do this. What we're going to do is either stay here, take a rest when you need to. So you might come all the way down, hips down. Could be like a Sphinx pose like this to rest, okay? And then if you'd like to add a little bit more challenge, we come up into the forearm plank pose. Be on the balls of the feet, so you are pressing the heels back nice and strongly. And just notice the position of my hips, so not up and not too far down, but really in line with the rib cage. So lift the right leg, take a couple of breaths. Put the foot down, lift the left, a couple of breaths. You're trying to not disrupt the line of the pelvis too much. Put it down, take a rest. Ooh. Again, quite hard to talk at the same time as demoing this one. So we'll do it one more time and I will stay quiet. So adding in a bit of instability challenges us in a good way. The foot doesn't need to lift very high, just a couple of inches off the floor. Reach back through the heels. Okay, all the way down. Take your rest, whichever one you're choosing. Also notice if you have accrued any tension in the neck or in the jaw. Ooh, so just let that go. Okay, so you're going to flip over onto your side. And actually, I'm going to start on my left side because my left side is weaker. So let's start with the weaker side. And I know that because I'm right-handed. I tend to do everything with the right side first. So you're on your forearm, knees are bent, and you might want to bring the top hip slightly in front of the bottom hip so it feels less knobbly on the bottom thigh bone, okay? So remember exactly the same. You are not dipping the shoulder, not dipping the ribs down. You're hugging the ribs up. Keep that shoulder blade drawing in. So the feet, like you're standing on them, flex through the ankles, lift your bottom hip. Top hand can come to the top hip or top arm reaches up. Breathe here. So 3 breaths is fine. Longer if you can. You could go to 10 breaths. Keep lifting up with that bottom hip. Feel your bottom shoulder blade hugging into your ribs. Okay, and then come down. And then again, just notice if there's any tension in the neck, in the jaw. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time to show you. If you were doing this on your own, you might repeat it 3 times, okay? So you can do exactly the same, or you can straighten your legs and come up in the same way. Flex the feet like you're standing on them. Notice the head is not hung down, it's not lifting too high. You're continuing the line of the spine, top arm up or top arm on hip. Up to you how many breaths you do. Oh, I really feel it on my weaker side. Okay, so be kind to yourself. Go ahead and switch sides. We're not here to punish our bodies. You might be making your body stronger by doing these poses, which is a good thing, but you want to do it with the attitude of non-harming, of kindness. So when you're ready, lift up the bottom waist. This is so much easier. And again, it might be 3 to 10 breaths. Okay. And then again, there's always the option to do it with straight legs. I was working with someone in class this week, and I had her set this pose up so her feet were against the wall, and she was pushing her feet into the wall. And then she was able to lift up a little bit more successfully into the straight leg version. Okay, so I did about 6 breaths. I'm going to come onto the belly, and I'm just going to ease out any tension, any tightness here. Okay, you can also take Sphinx pose or Cobra pose, and then push back to your knees, maybe child's pose or extended child's pose. And then we'll just take a little stretch to rinse out the effect of that pose. So step your right foot forward. You can pad under your left knee if it's helpful. Sweep the arms up. And then take your left arm higher and reach it over to the right. So you might have your right arm reaching out to the right, your right hand on your right thigh, or you can catch hold of the right forearm with the left forearm with the right hand. So lovely to feel that release through the side that's just been working to hold you up. Okay, and we need both. And then come down. Okay, so let's take the left hand to the floor, and if you need it, you can go ahead and put a block any height underneath that left hand, and then turn your chest to the right. And then option here to raise the right arm up. Now this could also be with the back knee off the floor. So twists can be particularly satisfying after core work. Okay, bring the hands down. Fantastic. Back into down dog or kneeling. Switch to the other side. Pad under that back knee if you need it. And really the back toes can be tucked or untucked. It's entirely your choice. So the right arm now is going to lift up nice and high, reaching over to the left. And again, hold the leg, reach the left arm out to the side, or catch hold of the top wrist. It was pretty joyful to me to lengthen my right side, which again is usually the tighter side. So really notice how your body's feeling in these poses. We can sometimes go through them kind of on autopilot. Put your right hand on the floor, turn the chest to the left, look left, twist to the left. And again, option to reach that back knee up or not. Beautiful. Okay, let's bring the knees down. And then you can choose, you take child's pose, cat cow, or downward facing dog. Okay, so we're going to link a few poses together here. And just a little word, actually, I'm going to drop my knees first while I do this. If I'm going to be facing the front of the mat and the back of the mat. So if you want to reposition your whatever device you're watching on, you can do that. You can bring it more to the side of the mat or turn your mat so that it's to the side of the device, whatever works for you, okay? So the right leg is lifting to start. Bring your right knee forward towards the right tricep or the right side of the chest. And again, just make sure that you're sort of holding on to the weight of the head here. Lift the right leg up and back for the three-leg dog. If any of this is too much, you can stay in down dog. Again, knee comes forward. You want to strongly press the arms so you're in that nice high plank position. Last one here. Bring the knee forward. Make sure that you are rounding the upper back. Now shoot the right foot out to the left side. So we're coming into fallen triangle. So if any of this doesn't work, you can take a break. You can stay in down dog. Turn your left foot to the left side. So you're turning that foot across the mat, and then you can go ahead and lift your top arm up. So you're pressing the legs strongly down. You can choose where that front foot comes, maybe a little further forward. Good. And then you're going to sit down and turn towards the back of the mat. Oh, and just take a moment to settle after that. So bring the hands behind you, turn the fingers forward, bend your knees, bring your knees about halfway back. Option one, push the hands down, lift the chest. Gorgeous little back extension. Option two, exactly the same, lift your butt. Tabletop. You can keep your chin tucked or face up towards the ceiling. See if you can lift a little bit higher with your sit bones. Press both the inside and the outside of the foot down. So you could totally stay here for longer, come out when you need to. Sit your bum down. Roll out the wrists if it helps you. And then hold on to the backs of the thighs. Bring your legs together. Rock back so that you're on your sacrum. Okay. And then you're going to hover the feet and stay like this, or lift your feet up so they're more horizontal. And you can stay like this, okay? Or you can reach your arms forward, squeeze the legs together. So Navasana. Or if you're feeling strong, straight legs. So you can definitely choose which one suits you. A little bit of shaking going on in my body. That's not a bad thing. It just means I'm working hard. Okay, let's cross the ankles. You can either bring your hands forward to come into down dog, or you can swing the legs to the side to come into down dog. Take a moment to lengthen waist, legs. Three-leg dog with the left leg in the sky. Exhale, knee to nose, step the left foot forward, turn the back heel down, come into warrior two. We're leading with the left. You can turn and gaze over your left hand. Really lovely rotation for the neck. If that doesn't suit you, just look to the side. Nice deep breaths. You want to fill your chest with breath. Breathe in and out through the nose. Turn the left palm up, so you're rotating the whole arm. Reach the left arm alongside the ear. Go ahead and straighten your front leg. And then heel toe your back foot a little bit closer. And turn the back foot more towards the front foot. And you might put your hand, your right hand, on the front of the pelvis, so the lower part of the belly. You're going to turn your pelvis a little bit more to the front. Make sure that you're rolling out with your front thigh, and then reach through that top arm as you come into triangle pose. Your front hand can be on the shin, you can put a block under it, or it can be on the floor, and then you can slide the top hand to the top hip, and then we turn the chest, rotate the chest so it turns more to the side. And then the option here is to reach the top arm up. So you're going to choose the position that you end up in. But what we're after here, you can probably see from my body, is a feeling of drawing back with the bottom hip, lengthening through the bottom waist, and then that little bit of a rotation through the top arm. The legs are active. Good. Both hands to the floor outside the front foot. Come back into down dog. And then go ahead and walk your hands back to meet your feet. So you're in a standing forward fold at what has become the back of the mat, but is the front of the mat from where you started. Okay, and then nice and slowly, inhale, come up, hinge from the hips, raise the arms. And exhale, bring the hands down. Beautiful. Now we're going to stand on the left and take tree pose. Your version of tree pose is completely fine. So you can have the right foot on the floor, turning the toes out on the calf, or bring it up into the inner thigh. Okay, hands can be here in front of the heart. Press the standing foot down, grow a little taller. How does it feel? You can smile. You could also raise the arms. Okay, bring the front knee in towards your belly. Lift it a little bit higher. And then bring both feet to the floor, Tadasana, hands down. Deep breath in, long breath out. Turn around, face the front of your mat. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Step back to dog. Okay, so we've got the same sequence on the second side. Can you remember? Lift the left leg in the sky, three-leg dog. Knee to chest on the exhale. We'll do this 2 more times. Okay, now that right foot is going to come out to the right side. I realize my blanket is kind of in the way. You're going to turn your back foot towards the right side of the mat and then lift up the top arm. Make sure the bottom arm is nice and strong. If in any doubt, come out of the pose. Again, I can feel how much more difficult this is for me on the left side. So I might stay for a little bit longer when I'm doing my weaker side, and then sit your bum down and turn to face the back of the mat. Okay, so remember we're at tabletop. Now, you can have the hands on the floor. You can lift the chest, okay? You could, exactly as we did before, bend the knees, lift your bum, or you could try with straight legs. I'm not a fan of this one, but I'm going to give it a go for the sake of showing you. Okay, so the feet are together. If you're doing straight legs, you're rolling the legs so they're a little bit more in towards each other. See if your feet can come towards the floor. Lift your bum as high as it'll go. You need to make sure your hands are wide enough, otherwise it's not going to happen. Okay, smile and breathe. Lift your bum. Support the weight of the head. Come down when you need to. That's quite enough of that for me. Bring your feet back. Hold the backs of the, again, wrist circles if it helps. You're going to roll to the sacrum. Hover the feet. Stay here, option 1. Option 2, horizontal with the shins. Reach the arms forward, perhaps. Option 3, Navasana full boat pose. You're going to choose which one. And when you're done, feet to the floor. Ooh, take a breather. Cross the ankles, back into down dog. Walk your hands back towards your feet, standing forward bend. Hinge up from your hips, mountain pose. Stand on the right, tree pose. Totally fine to have your left foot in a different position if it won't come to the thigh. Focus, grow tall. Breath is full. You don't have to over breathe. You might bring the hands up, so you're going to choose the arm position. Bring your left knee in towards your belly. Both feet on the floor, Tadasana. Take a breath. Notice how you feel. Turn around. Face the front of your mat. Okay, last couple of sequences. We're going to have the right foot forward, step the left foot back, high lunge. Bring the arms up. Okay. Now you can stay with the arms up or the hands on your hips. Otherwise, we're going to take eagle arms. You will cross the left arm on top of the right arm, hook the elbows, lift the elbows up. Good. Unwind the arms, put the right hand on the right thigh, lift the left arm up. Reach the left arm as far forward as it can go whilst you push back with the left heel, and then start to turn your chest so that it's turning towards the right. Left elbow or forearm is on the right thigh, and we're twisting to the right. So I actually have my hands together, pressing like a prayer position. If this doesn't work for you, you can always go back to left hand on the floor as we did before. Good. And then as you unwind the chest, come back up to high lunge. Whoops. And then step your feet forward, standing at the top of the mat. You might want to give your hips a little wiggle. And now I really invite you to go with what feels best for you for this one. I'm going to turn a little bit to the side so you can see me. So we might just take the left ankle on top of the right thigh like this. As you sit back in that imaginary chair. And then you can stay for a few breaths. You can come out when you need to. You could also take your eagle arms again. Okay. We'll unwind, conscious of the time. Step your right foot back, come into high lunge. Raise both arms. Eagle arm variation, right arm on top of left. Okay, so you want to enjoy how you're moving and breathing, even if it feels like you're doing some hard stuff today. Beautiful. Let's unbind. Reach the right arm up. Reach it forward, press back with the right heel, gonna lengthen through the right side and then turn the chest. Now you can have your forearm on your leg or your elbow on your leg. And we're turning into that twist. See if you can amp up the back leg a little bit. Good, okay, untwist. Oh, here's where it's tricky. And then step forward. Oh, yes, standing at the top of the mat. Okay, we're going to cross the right ankle again. You can always do crossing the legs. This one is more tricky for me on this left side. So the option here, if you're finding it tricky, would be to move to a wall and to hold on to something. Okay, so we are standing on the left. And maybe continuing with the eagle arms. If it feels too unstable, I really recommend using a wall or a chair, and don't worry about the arms. And then when you're done, stand for a moment and notice how you feel. So good for us to do standing balances. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Let's step back to kneeling. Okay, so this one you may want padding under your back knee. It's up to you. I'm going to take the front leg in, right leg in front I'm saying. Right leg in front and grab blocks if you find them helpful. So as you lift up the front leg, we're going to come into half splits. Ardha Hanumanasana. So front, so I lift up the front foot like this. And so notice how my hands are underneath my shoulders. They're not too far forward. And if this one is a little tight, you can bring the blocks up to the high setting, okay? Beautiful. Let's switch sides. Of course, those of you that do have a little bit more range, you can always go towards full splits. Yeah, I would just be moving the legs further into it. And again, no pushing if it doesn't suit your body today. You want to also be mindful of the fingers. I notice I can use my fingers quite strongly, but they might feel more happy if I had a block under them. As it is with my long arms, I can put my hands on the floor, no problem. So because you've got gravity and a lot of obviously upper body weight coming down through the hips and through that front leg potentially, you just want to make sure that it's working for you. Okay, and then come back to kneeling. Now I'm going to keep the blanket under my knees. If you don't have a blanket, you could put cushions or even just fold up the front of your mat if it helps. So keep the knees hip distance, and let's just do a little baby camel pose. If you want to go further, I'll guide you after this one. Place the hands on the pelvis. Your thumbs are behind you, or your hands are behind you. We're lifting up through the side body, armpits. And you can also tuck your toes. Sometimes that feels nice to do. Okay, so keep lifting up through the collarbones. Widen the collarbones. See if you can get a little bit more height. So I'm going to turn to the camera. We want to be focusing on, feel where the lower ribs are. You can use your hands to feel the lower back ribs. And then the lift wants to come just at those lower back ribs. So if you are used to wearing a bra, okay, then it's below bra strap where we want to really be lifting from, for us. Okay, so you can feel your back ribs and you want to be lifting here. And then there's not so much bend in between the shoulder blades at the back of the heart. And then we get a little bit more at the top of the thoracic, and then obviously lots in the neck. So you're focusing on lifting up as much as you are coming into the back bend. Definitely be mindful of the head and neck. So the head is really heavy. You might want to look forward or lift your chin a bit, support the weight of the head. I'm not a fan of letting the head go back because that's too much flexion for the neck. It's your body. I can't, enforce anything, but that would be my advice. And then you can sit back, take a rest. If it's not comfortable to sit on the heels, put something underneath and feel the middle line, the spine. Okay, one more time in Cobra. If you've had enough of that, you can come onto your back and just take a pose that suits you. So maybe child's pose. Did I say Cobra? I might have said Cobra. I meant camel. So you're going to focus on getting that lift at the lower bottom ribs. And this might be as far as you go. So some of you will be able to maybe hinge a bit from the knees and bring the hands back. We really want to feel that lift and extension
at the lower bottom ribs. And again, you just be mindful of the head. When you come up from your hips, from your belly, all the way up. And then sit back. And notice how you feel. Okay, my friends. So we're going to come towards winding down. So I'd really like you to choose what you need. So for me, I just want to turn my head a couple of times, not rolling the head, just easing out a little bit of tension there in the neck from supporting the weight of the head with the neck, okay? And then you might come onto your back and take knees to chest. You might take Shavasana. We've only got about 8 minutes. Or you might sit in a seated meditation, okay? So you can choose. My recommendation is if you're sitting that you take your hips much higher than your knees. So your spine can be in a nice optimal position, okay? So you're going to choose, and whichever one you're doing, if you're lying down on the floor, you might bring the hands beside you, palms up, in this gesture of receptivity. If you're sitting, you can always place an extra prop to bring the hands up a bit. Okay, so you might have some cushions, and you can do like this, bring the hands, palms face up. So just taking some time here to let the body settle, let the breath settle. Feel like you can receive the energy from this practice you've done. So just notice what the residue is in your body. And as best you can, whether you're sitting or lying, allow the weight of the body to be held by the floor. If you're sitting upright, a posture which is somewhat dignified and also easeful. And if you're lying down, give up the weight of the body. Breath moves through you of its own accord without the need to control. Notice the effect of your practice. Receive this energy. Open and relaxed. might notice the hum of the energy in your body. And then bringing awareness back to the breath, you can take some deeper breaths. You're lying down on your back, have a stretch. Of course, if you have more time, then you don't need to move. And if you are lying on your back, you might like to roll over to your side, take 2 or 3 breaths there before you come up to a seated pose. For those of you who are sitting, you can keep your eyes closed if you like. We're just going to do the same as we started with. So palms upturned. Inhale, bring the arms out to the side, sweep the arms in a circle above you. Exhale, draw the palms down together in front of the midline. 2 more. Slow breath. We'll rest the hands in front of the heart. Arms pressing together, shoulders softening down. So may this practice continue to serve us individually. Allow us to feel our energy, our potential, our brightness. Help us to ease through any suffering and live with ease and peace in the heart. And may this practice continue to serve and benefit others, all beings. May all beings live in peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a beautiful day.